Hello. In this video, we're going to be going over how to add a digital ad using the new impression product type into the system. So you're going to be adding these to orders just as you would add any print, digital, or service item to an order. It's just on the product step we're going to add it. So the start of the order and the end of the order is all the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to an order that I already have in the system. So I'm going to go find my company, Kraus Pizza. And I'm going to go over to my pending orders tab. I'm just going to edit this order that I already have in progress. So just to know, again, all this first step is the same. For these impression items, the digital contact is the one who will receive artwork notifications, just like normal digital ads. I'm just going to jump straight to the product step. And so what we can see here is an order that I already have started to go. But what I want to do is I want to add a new impression item to this order. So I'm going to go to this impression sales and click add. When we get to this step, what we have to really focus on first is starting by selecting the publication. So the publication will really be kind of the website. So for this one, I'm going to say asu-asumag.com. So you see all the different publications in here. And then I'm going to select the media product type. It's important to know, instead of having to choose all the different options in terms of sizes, you'll really see your product list here. So this will be all the different types of products that could be sold into this site. So I'm going to select ASU 300 by 250 left, run a site. Also, this channel option to select to make sure, again, we're targeting the correct parts into Google. One thing to note is this GL class field should default or will default to a GL class. If it doesn't, you will still have to select one, but there can be default setup for each one of these items. This one is currently set. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the start date and end date, and I'm going to start in May, and I am actually then going to run this to the end of June. Now what you'll see here is this actually loading the available inventory that's returned based from Google. They're forecasting their availability. One thing to note is you'll see here that there's an error because I don't have enough units requested, so I'm going to have to increase my unit count. One important thing I want to note here is that you can't go and put anything into the past. So that won't work. So if you try and do that, you will get an error. So everything you enter has to be in the future. So I'm going to enter this item. And now I'm actually going to change the units. And when I change the units, we'll see that this table is actually going to update. And now what we'll see is that we have two line items, one for May and one for June. And I can see the available option right here, and then the amount that I have requested. What's really important to know is I put in 10,000 units. So because of how the system works, it's actually going to split that into each month evenly. So you can see in the requested column, I have 5,000 and 5,000 for each month. So what the system does is it takes the start date period time, and it's going to divide it based on how many months selected. So I have May through June, 2 months, it takes the units and divides it evenly. One important thing to note is it is just going to base it on how many months. So if I were to change this to, let's say, the 15th, this is going to stay exactly the same. So it's just kind of dividing it based on how many months that it finds in there. It has nothing to do with the number of days. So let's change that back to the first. Again, you can use grouping as you've used grouping all times before. But now I have this item in here, again, through May, through June, and I have my units. One other thing I want to mention is if you are going to update the units to a higher amount, you'll notice that anytime the requested is above the available, we will warn you with this red that there is not really that many available based on Google in that month period. In the future, you will be prevented or could be prevented from placing an order. For now, you will be able to submit that order. But if you do see this red, it does mean that you have requested an amount that is above what Google thinks that it can deliver in that coming month. So I'm going to change that back to 10,000. So now I need to price this item. So the first thing is we're going to enter something into the gross unit price, and all of these are based on impression sales. So I'm going to brace this as a CPM pricing of $20. So again, we'll see here I have 10,000 units, 20 per thousand. So we have this as a net of 200. Now what I can also do is then I can go change the net. So let's say I wanted to give them a discount and I'm going to charge them a 15 CPM. So that's going to change the net. So all the pricing will work exactly the same as it has before. And now I can go down, we can add the placement notes, add notes, and again, any of the additional fields just as we would. And when I save this item to an order, well, actually you can see that this item is going to be added now. down here in 2 separate line items. So we're essentially all done. We don't have to worry about the billing and notes area. Again, that works exactly the same. But one thing to note, if we go to the review and send, there actually is going to be a new column here, or a section on the template for digital media items. So it's not going to show up in the print and digital area. It has its own area. And again, this inventory, while it's on the product, if you want to check that out before starting to create an order, there is a new report. Again, it's this Google Ad Manager inventory report, which works just the same as far as entering the order. You will go to the report. Again, you'll select your publication. You can then select, again, any of the products that you may want to sell for that item. So again, we can select this. We can select the channel, and then we can go in here and select the date. Again, it won't let me start with anything in the past. So I'll go May, and I will go to June. We can enter up the units that we, again, request. In this case, you can break it up monthly or weekly just to get a view, but this is just viewing the data. It's not entering the order, but if you do want to review what is available in that period of time, you can do that going through there. And that is going through creating a impression-based item using the new mechanism on the order entry.